Good morning and welcome to my mask tutorial. I've put this together for people that I've made these masks for and that I have not had an opportunity to talk to them about the mask. So this is a quicker way than writing things down. I figured that having a picture would work better. So this is a typical mask that I make, and I'm going to use my seam ripper to point out as a pointer. If you look down here, there's a little spot that looks like it's peeking out a little bit more than the rest of the edge. On some of my masks it's more pronounced than others, but this is an area that when I sewed originally on the first set of stitches before I turned it right side out, there is an opening right here, which is how you turn it right side out. If you need to put like a coffee filter inside the mask, then this is the area that you would just take out some of these stitches and you would access that opening. You'd be able to then put a coffee filter inside, and then if you want, you could just do a quick little stitch on the edge of each spot where you did not rip out any more of the stitches to keep it from ripping out further, and that would allow you to put a coffee filter in there to give you extra protection. Now up here you'll see how the stitching comes across the top, dips down a little bit, continues over, and then on this side you'll see a dip down and continues over again. Inside of that area is a wire, and this is what the wire looks like that I've put in there. It is covered in a rubberized material, and I have folded down and pinched them pretty tightly, the ends, so that you don't have a sharp edge poking at you. Now, of course, this is wire, so after a certain number of washings that I do not know what it is, I have not reached that yet on my own masks, it is liable to break. If that should happen, what you could do is, if you look right here, you'll see that there is the joint where the two pieces were sewn together. You could again use a pair of scissors and carefully cut it, or use a seam ripper and take out a couple of those stitches, and then you'd be able to access the wire, and then you can just pull it out, and again just give a little tiny like darning type stitch to the ends to prevent it from unraveling completely. So that is one mask, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. Here is another example of a mask. This one, as you'll see, as with the pink one that I showed a moment ago, the color of the thread is pretty close to the color of the mask, and that is my upper thread on my sewing machine. On my bobber side, I use a contrasting color, and it is not meant to match. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's this yellow color. It's just whatever I have that does not match the color of the mask, and I do this on purpose. We're told when we're wearing these that we either do two different kinds of material so that a person can take the mask off, and then when they go to put it back on, they'll be putting it back on with the same side facing their face in that particular day, so that you're filtering the air through in the same direction. I use the contrasting color of thread, and I make sure that my masks are the same color material on both sides. So if you remember to just put the thread that doesn't match the color of your material, if you put that side up against your face, then you'll have it on the right way every time. I'll be back again. Here is a mask that's an example of one that I have put an applique. I've done some embroidery work on this one. Okay, there's two different styles, and most everyone has one that's just a little bit different than this. This one is mine personally, and what I did was I appliqued it after I had the mask all put together. So you'll see that you can see the back side of the stitching on this one. On the ones that I make for other people, that I've done the embroidery work on. I've done the embroidery work before I put the mask together with an extra piece of material just around the spot where the embroidery stitching will go, and then I've cut the excess away from the edge relatively closely. That works for two things: to help hold the applique in place, but it also gives another barrier in case you're concerned about all the thread holes that are going to be going into the mask itself, and for the purposes of the filtering and the protection. Now, other than this one that I did for myself, just like the pink one that I showed you a moment ago, you can open up the bottom side and put a coffee filter in there if you want extra protection, if you feel like you need to use extra protection. Just remember, the coffee filter would need to be removed before you wash it, and then you would just want to put another one in the next time. And I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say about the masks. If you have any questions, you should know me well enough that you can reach me personally. And so that's my video. I hope that it helps to give you all the features of my masks. Thank you. Have a good day and stay safe.